Today I'm going to talk about social media. I'm going to cover Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google+. We'll start off with Facebook. And to get there, I will go to one of my bookmarks folders and click on Facebook. When I get there, I see at the top of the newsfeed page what someone who is a friend of mine on Facebook has most recently posted, like 12 minutes ago. And he's thanking his dad for forwarding him a review on Ars Technica Review. This guy is a programmer for Yahoo, and the things he posts on there are not necessarily very high on my list. Next down is my first cousin, who is a very conservative and is talking about praying for passing the House Speaker's plan to raise the debt limit. That's also not very high on my list today. Now here is one of our grandchildren she and her husband are missionaries in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And this is one of the best ways for us to keep track of what's going on in their lives. They have a brand new baby right there, and their current post simply says that that new baby's passport has finally arrived. The problem is the passport is in the next country over in Africa where they were when the baby was born, so now they just need to get back there to pick it up. One of the problems with Facebook is that it's constantly changing. I just closed out the page that I was looking at and was recording for you, and I'm now going back and open Facebook again. And now you see that someone else is at the top of my page. This is my page, my home page. And someone else is here because 3 minutes ago they posted this. And now when I go to our kids page from the Congo, I see something different here at the top. The reason for that is that since I made that recording about 3 minutes ago, their Facebook page has changed. Here's the entry about their new child's passport, and now there is something else above that. So now I'm going to go back to my home page, and once again somebody else has posted something which is now at the top of my home page. The other problem with Facebook that I see is that once you have agreed to be a friend to someone who has sent you a friend request, there are really only two ways that you can avoid in the future seeing everything that they post on your page. You can either go to their latest post and hide that particular post, and then every time you go down here it will say this post is hidden, or you can go in and click hide all posts by that person, which you may or may not want to do, or you go to your friends list by clicking friends, clicking manage friend list, and then see all friends, and you find that friend whose posts are beginning to annoy you, And the only thing you can do is remove him as your friend. Now that's my first cousin. It's going to hurt his feelings if I do that. So I don't want to do that. I think that's a major failing in Facebook, and I'll show you later how Google has decided to solve that particular problem. So, the first one of the social media that I have talked about is Facebook. It is a dynamic way to keep up with your friends and your family. It moves pretty fast. What you see on there may be of interest to you and may not, and it's difficult to manage what you want to see. Now, there are interesting things that you will find on Facebook if you have interesting friends or interesting family. My son, for example, just posted a picture of a rose that just bloomed. Well, he's a pretty good photographer, so I can click directly on that photo and I get a beautiful picture of his latest production in his photography field. And if I drop down below my son's posting of his beautiful rose, I can come to a post from an organization. The organization's called Young Men in Harmony Hawaii. It's actually an organization put together by a couple of members of the chorus I belong to in Honolulu. They are trying to attract new young men to the singing of barbershop harmony. They put together a pizza party and posted a video. Now, there is one other way to use Facebook if you are in business, and I will cover that briefly. If I go to my Facebook page and go to my account, see, this is Hank Drayton's Facebook page. If I go to my account, there's an option here called Use Facebook As page. I have other pages on Facebook which I put up to market my vacation rental in Hawaii. And if I switch to that page, I can see the things that are on my page which I have posted. And I am, of course, hoping that other people will find that and like it. And if you have a business Facebook page, and if you ask for it, you will receive weekly statistics about that Facebook page. The number of monthly active users, and whether that's increasing or decreasing since last week, the number of people who like your Halekipa Golf Course homepage, the number of posts or comments, and the number of visits this particular week. Let's now move on to the next item in our social media discussion, LinkedIn. When I want a concise description of something, I often go to Wikipedia. Wikipedia talks about LinkedIn, says that it is a business-related social networking site. It is mainly used for professional networking, and as of 22 March, LinkedIn reports more than 100 million registered users. I belong to LinkedIn, and because I signed up for it, once a day, I get a group digest of what's going on in LinkedIn. from people to whom I am linked via LinkedIn. Here is a list of LinkedIn groups that I belong to. It all started because a lady named Gina Salvador sent me an email once and invited me to join a group and an active discussion. Since she was the membership vice president for the Hawaii Visitors Bureau, I said, yes, please, and thank you, because they are very influential in the vacation rental business or in any part of the tourist business in Hawaii. So now I get summaries like this. And all other comments that have been placed by her or someone else on this particular LinkedIn discussion group. I think that's really all you need to know about LinkedIn. It's full of people who are looking for jobs, want to go to networking meetings. Gina promotes one of these about every week somewhere at some watering hole in Honolulu, and those who are a member of her group can show up and network with other people who are in the business of promoting themselves or their company or whatever to other business people in Honolulu. Now let's talk about Google+. And once again, I will go to Wikipedia. Wikipedia says that Google+ launched on June 28, 2010. That's only a little over a month ago. Excuse me, 2011. June 28, 2011. Only a little over a month ago. And the following day, existing users were allowed to invite friends who are above 18 years of age to the service to create their own accounts. This was suspended the next day due to an insane demand for accounts. Well, I have a Google Gmail account, and if you have a Google Gmail account, you can just go to Google Plus and you can find that you are invited. Or at least I was. And I set up an account, which is very new. But now if I go to the place where I saved that link and click Google Plus, you will find Hank's Google Plus account. And you will find things that other people have posted on Google Plus, if I have linked with them. Now, the thing that's different about Facebook and Google Plus, I think, is going to allow Google Plus to eat Facebook's lunch. As I told you, it's difficult to control what you see on Facebook and who you interact with, because you don't know whether you really want to interact with them a lot until after you friend them. Well, you don't friend people on Google+. You put them in a circle, and you can set up your own circles. Here are the ones that I have set up: friends, family, acquaintances, following, and people I want nothing to do with. That's my own invention. Now, I can put someone there or move them from one of these other places to there, and they are going to know that they're in one of my circles, but they're not going to know which one. And I think that solves Facebook's problem of clutter and hurt feelings. Time will tell. Right now, if I go down through these various circles, I haven't actually got the people. I only have 2 people here that I have noticed. One is Gina Salvador, and I put her down as an acquaintance. And there's nobody in here so far. and I have 2 notifications. I haven't figured out exactly how to do this, but I think that means that Gina Salvador and April Lombardi have added me on their Google+, which is good because I sent them a notice that I wanted to plus with them, or whatever you call it. You don't say I want to friend you. I'm just getting used to this. And Gina Salvador, you already know, is the lady I deal with on LinkedIn. And April Lombardi is my granddaughter and the mother of my 4 great-grandchildren. So that is my very early take on Google+. Circles instead of friends, and those in your circles know they're in one, but not which one. There are, of course, other social media. There's Twitter, and there's still MySpace, which was sort of the predecessor of Facebook. If you want to see a whole bunch of others, go to Wikipedia. So, why should you care about social media? Well, it depends on what you might get out of using one or more of these socialization tools. If you're looking for a job or you have something to sell, I think you should get on LinkedIn. If you want to know what your grandchildren and maybe your children and certainly your great-grandchildren are doing in the future, I think you ought to be on Facebook. And if you're curious about how well Google succeeds in taking over the world, which they have certainly succeeded in the verb to Google and in YouTube for videos on the internet, then I think you would be well advised to stay up with what's going on in Google+. And that is why I put this together. I hope you find it useful. If you want to look at it again, it is on my YouTube schedule.